All right, so up here in Glacier National Park, I'm about 5 miles away from the entrance to the place. It's where I live. Lived here for about 8 years. I started hiking in the park in 2019. I broke my femur, tore my ACL, and had a hiccup here and there, but been pretty much obsessed with that place ever since. And about summited over 70 summits in the place. I had over 100 days where I said, "Hey, let's go to Glacier and hike." I like running around with my sandals. I've been doing that since 2019. Thankfully, my time in Boulder, Colorado, kind of gave me some of that awareness and enlightenment of connecting with the earth and getting out of that shoe. A company called Zero Shoes. It was started in Boulder. I was there in 2013 and remember hearing about them. So I was lucky enough to have that going for me, and ended up growing out my hair in 2020. I took in 2019. It's my biggest secret. I was taking a lot of psychedelics. Just was, I don't know, spinning out of the spiral of life. Lost my job, bartending job. I couldn't look at people in the eye. I couldn't take things serious. Couldn't give things respect. And I think that's what that does to you, honestly, because this is such a stupid system that we live in. And I couldn't give it respect because I think at the DNA level, I recognized how dumb life was after taking a lot of LSD, a lot of mushrooms, and a lot of hiking in Glacier. Uh, but that winter is when I tore my ACL and broke my femur. During that time, I really learned a lot about recovery, learned a lot about pain, learned a lot about myself. And I mean, I've been through a lot of injuries. I've had a problem with my back. My L4, L5 disc still to this day is the biggest problem I have. In 2020, I went through a serious rehab, and I always come out of these moments very strong. Pain kind of it drives me to do that. It definitely, if it wasn't for the mountains, I don't think I would have had the motivation. But in 2020, I don't know if you remember, we had the COVID thing go down. That motivated me because I was like, God, these people are fucking idiots. I'm going to get really healthy, and I'm not going to get the vaccine. I'm just going to get healthy. I'm going to have a good immune system. I had that motivation happening. Tell everybody to wear a mask. Tell everybody to stay home. So I started working out in my house. I got in the best shape of my life. I was like 150 pounds, totally shredded. I still can't get to that weight. I'm around 160, 165 now, always. And I think it's because I eat meat all the time. And I don't think you don't really want to be that thin. But anyway, kind of that's a little bit of background about me. I have, I guess I should include this because this is how I found these answers in life from meditation. And it's through loneliness, and it's through breaking apart from my family. I haven't talked to my dad in over 10 years. Honestly, it's a huge dark spot in my life, and it's probably the one spot of hate that holds me back the most in meditation. You can't have hate in your heart. And I try and forgive him, try to move on, but that's a big piece of your life. When I grew up and I put all the pieces together, who he actually was and how he actually handled stuff, and everything clicked. I can't talk to him ever again. He's just an asshole. Alcohol and money ruins people. I was raised in a super Catholic family, super religious Catholic family, and just spun out of it. I just saw all these lies and saw all these guilt trips and saw how that's not really love. That's not really caring. That's just doing what the book tells you to do. And that book, and through researching all this stuff, realized the Catholic religion is a fucking lie. It's evil with a good face. They're taking away the real abilities of us and the real map. They pillaged the Library of Alexandria, took all the scrolls, took all the information. They just have power over us. And it's sad to see other people being robbed of the real thing, thinking that they're doing the right thing. It's the ultimate, it's the worst scenario possible, is when people think they're doing the right thing and they're just wrong. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. X plus Y minus Z equal sign. Your equal sign is just big red X. You're just getting the equation wrong. And then I go back and try to explain the equation to people, and people think I'm an asshole. Well, you got to believe in something. It's a huge trigger in the human mind. It's this whole category. And I think that's why they wrapped you into this Catholic religion. Spun out of that. Long story short, it's already a long story, but long story short, when I started running around in Glacier doing physically really hard stuff, in my barefoot with my walking stick, with my long hair, I started tapping stuff, and stuff started happening to me that was like unexplainable. And it would always happen when you were tripping too. You're like, oh my God, look, I was just the synchronicity moments are what blow your mind and tell you that there's something else out there that you're kind of dipping in and out of. When you trip, you go into it. And so anyway, a lot of solo hiking over the last couple of years. I got my leg recovered. My back problem is still there, but that's I mean, I work out every day because of this back. If I don't work out, I end up in back pain down my right leg. All the hip flexors get super tight, and I have to release with lacrosse ball all the time. We are in a life where there's all the sitting, and I'm not good at. I can't sit. And I think it's encoded into me to not sit, so that I can. I think it's honestly like the driver. The pain is the driver, so I don't just sit around and do nothing and make nothing of this life and fall into a zombie state. I think it's maybe you asked for it. In between lives, when you come down, you press the go button on Earth and you're like, let's go. You have this plan. You're able to sit in between lives, and you're given all your memories from all of your past lives. And you're able to put pieces together, come up with this new plan, say, hey, I want this. But when you hit that go button to Earth, your memory's wiped, and there you go. You're back into the game. You're back into the simulation. And I think when you're in that in-between phase, you come up with the plan to give yourself what you want. And I think this is something I might have asked for. It sounds crazy, but when you get deep into meditation, into this astral realm, you start making these types of connections, maybe accessing the Akashic records. But I think I asked for pain. I said, if I'm ever off course in my life, give me pain, and that will drive me back onto my course. And that's exactly how I found what I found. So a little background there. No family ties. I have 40 cousins. Not one of them talks to me. They all think I'm fucking crazy. And I have said mean things. And I've been totally twisted up by demons in my life and made terrible mistakes. What I've done, though, is I've opened up an avenue for everybody that I've made a bad, whatever negative memory with. Opened up the avenue for conversation. You don't say you're sorry. You just open up the avenue and say, hey, or something like that. And if you do feel like you need to apologize. Say, hey, sorry, I was, younger and it made some mistakes, but I realize it now. I did that to everybody. There's like 2 people that have reached back out to me and talked to me. So it tells you a lot about other people too. It's like, I don't know how people never talk to somebody again like that. I think that's controlled by the real demons and the real demonic forces. They carve out the inside of your brain, your personality, any sort of creativeness, any sort of looseness that just comes out with something diverse and creative, and it gives you you have to dig into the part of the brain that has been refilled with the textbook knowledge, and you give a robotic answer. That's why these doctors, they don't have any creativity, because everybody's in a state of judgment, their job depends on it. So they literally give you robotic answers instead of the real version of love. So it doesn't matter if I reached out to basically like my mom and my cousins, people that don't talk to me anymore. And I was like, hey, sorry, but you guys, this is why, do you understand why? No, they don't understand. I'm like, okay, I've tried to explain to you a lot of times, like, what's going on, and they don't understand. I'm like, I can't live this lie with you. Like, it's just this fake version. They think I'm absolutely crazy to say don't drink tap water. They think I'm on drugs. Like, they just have never tried marijuana. They've never tried any psychedelics. They think I'm insane to go into the woods alone. There's no connection. There's no like real genuine love. It's just this fake version of what they think is love, what's been taught to them, how to love. And well, when they're acting out like this, and they think every time I express myself, I'm lashing out. It's like, oh, here he goes again. He's dropping off the edge. He's got a mental health problem. I'm like, no, this is just you being you, having a personality, a telling person what makes you mad, talking through it, working through your problems. They don't do it anymore because it's inappropriate or something. So they get locked into this box where they never ever say anything outside that box, anything inappropriate, and they just get drawn into this robotic life, and they don't see it. When you're in it, you don't see it. So 2023 came around, and I was deep in meditation. I was finding all these different kind of just answers in meditation, and going into 2024, I woke up with a 3-fingered scratch on my shoulder, and it scared the shit out of me. But it didn't hurt. It didn't cause anything negative to happen after my life. I didn't feel bad inside of me. So I was like, I don't think it's a demon. I was really scared, and I was like looking online. The first thing that pops up is scratches the ghost. And to me, honestly, that tells you the opposite. If the internet says that, the system says to be afraid of this, then it told me not to be afraid of it. That's exactly how you spin out of the system. You literally got to do the opposite of everything. It doesn't make sense at first, but if you keep meditating, it will make sense. So I was not afraid of it, and I was just curious about it, and then all these synchronicity things started happening, pointing me to Peru. in after the scratch, and I had a couple piezoelectricity dreams like shock me in my dreams. As I was waking up, I saw these fault lines in Peru. These Puquio spirals that they go down to get their water from their aquifer, but all their peaks. And that's what I saw in my dreams. It didn't make any sense. Like I couldn't even make that up. The next day, I'm watching Deep Space on Gaia TV, and it's episode of Peru, and this elongated skulls pops up. It just gave me the chills on the synchronicity of everything, how it just happened to me, and then it just popped up on TV the next day. And those fault lines were on the TV show where they get their water. I was just amazed. All the synchronicity things pointed me there, tying it to some of the things I was doing in Glacier. That's exactly the feeling I had. I was like, this is directly tied to me meditating on the summits in Glacier National Park all year last year, having over 40 solo summits. And then boom, I started meditating at my cabin in the wintertime, and this happened to me. The scratch, the visions, the dreams. And then I went hiking in 2024 this year. And I'm not kidding you, there was a series of about 5 hikes in a row where I found a face in the rocks every single time. Every hike. And it wasn't like the mountains I had picked out with plan. It was just, I was kind of just hiking and doing what I felt like doing. And I would find all these faces, like legit looking faces in the rock. And it just gave me the absolute chills. I didn't know what to think about it, didn't know what to do about it. And I think when I was deep in meditation, I've asked for proof, for all, just show people I'm not full of shit. Show people that something actually is going down. Use physical, tangible evidence to do it or something. I think this is what happened. I'm not. It's just people will kind of get turned off from me saying this. I get turned off from myself saying it because it sounds so egotistical. It sounds like, oh, you think you're the one. I'm like, no, I just think this happened, and it's driving me nuts this winter. So talking about it is helping, and getting the message out there feels better. Because if the truth prevails and something does go down, at least I've said it. That's kind of where I'm at. At least I've said it. At least I had this documentation of real, genuine thoughts go down, and people can grab and look at that. But 5 to 7 faces in one hiking season, and then I go back to this place. I can't name the location, and there's a Sphinx in Egypt, and I think Glacier is a terraformation, a natural version of Egypt. These pyramid-like peaks with an aquifer below. I think it's a representation of Earth, symbol of Mecca, of water, of the forest life. It's a symbol. Glacier National Park is a symbol, and it's a chakra, and it forms a circular shape, and it's flat in the center up by 50 Mountain. That's where I've had a geometric vision of the symbol for water in a dream. This spirit guide I've been seeing for the last 4 years, different times. The float tank, Saeed Jackson, when I'm in my deepest state during this time of year, during the winter, close to the winter solstice, I make all these connections, and I call it stirring the pot in the summertime. You go hike and live in the van and stir the pot, and then let all the dust settle in the wintertime. You make all these connections. And anyway, I'm going back there. My God, I just feel this calling, like I've missed a face back here is what I had. I had the intuition feeling like there's a face in this valley. And I stopped dead in my tracks, and there's this turtle. There's a huge turtle back there. It's the whole mountain. It's right in the face, and that's how people, I think, have missed it for so long. There's a clear line right where the mouth should be. There's 2 eyes, a reptilian type of face structure, reptilian face structure with a shell right next to it, with a neck connecting the shell. It's ancient. It's fossilized. It's ancient rock, so it's crumbled, and it doesn't look very prominent anymore, but very much is the turtle. I can't tell you the intuition, the astral connections, the feelings I've had, the lightning bolts from my spine. There's no way to prove it to you besides you just have to believe it. Because there's no tangible proof. This isn't science. That's my favorite part. It's a complex equation of putting it all together in meditation. It's a turtle. We have a turtle. I was sitting there talking to this kid in 2023 at the same beach, not knowing that there was a turtle right to my right at this time. And he was telling me about the flat earth. They were smoking a bowl, telling me that, hey, the sun is not 93 million miles away. We're being lied to. There's ice around us all. We're just like a big pond. And I remember even saying, you're blowing my mind right now. No way, because I had the feeling. And then, as we were about to leave, the skies open up. The sun pokes through. Perfect example of the sun not being 93 million miles away. It was literally showing us as he was saying it. Like the sun rays, if it was 93 miles away, it should go straight down. They were splaying out. And my meditation vision showed me Gardner Point. And that's when I pulled up the picture on my phone and realized that the Gardner Point is a being lying down on his back right next to the turtle. This is mind-blowing shit. This is absolutely mind-blowing shit. I can't believe it. I want to share it with Gaia. I want to share it with Forbidden Knowledge, because I think that's what Glacier is. I think I kind of figured it out. And that's why the Nazis moved here after World War II and built a bunker. They built this monolith pillar at Morais Pass, the same pillar that's at DC, the same pillar that's at the poles. They're running this planet still, and they have been for 100 years, and we're just living a lie. I'm not kidding you. They rule with a good face. Santa, that's Satan. That's literally the forces that have controlled this planet for the last 100 years. And they moved here because this is a place where you can rip through space and time and allow information in and out. So they need to control the frequency here. It's kind of a keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer thing. That's why I think the Germans moved here. And if I'm wrong, it's still there's still information there that I don't get then, but it still tells me something. Why would the world leaders move to Glacier National Park, build a bunker, build a pillar, some sort of symbolization, and then move to the poles? Because I think I'm right. I think Glacier is a computer, a chakra of the Earth's spine, the spine that goes from North Pole to South Pole, and even wraps all to the Karakoram over there in India, Nepal, Afghanistan. That's why Egypt is over there. That's the head of the snake. It's the head of the spine. I think Glacier is a symbolization, and it's a computer mecca, where if you sit in meditation, you allow the piezoelectricity to travel through the aquifer below the peaks. It's exactly the scenario they used in Egypt. They had piezoelectricity traveling through the water, and they had pyramids built on top of the aquifer. I'm not saying I know exactly what was going down, but I'm just saying that's what was the representation. That was exactly what it was. An aquifer, pyramids. It's exactly what Glacier National Park is. Aquifer, pyramid-like peaks on top. We got a turtle. We have faces that look like the Peruvian war symbol, that look like King Tut, that look like the wise man, that look like beings from Sirius. Elongated skulls. Do you get it? This is a shrine, a mecca, a shrine for all of that. And they knew that. Their ability to see some sort of light or something is what I think. But how did the Germans know to come to Montana and dig up all of our mercury and mine for all these natural resources? They needed mercury for their UFO technology. And so they digged up all these natural resources. I think they could see where it was underground. They had some sort of LiDAR technology all the way back then. I don't know, it's a different thought. But anyway, they found all these U-boats in the Atlantic and different areas that were sunken German U-boats filled with mercury going towards Antarctica. In 1952, Operation High Jump goes down there. The Admiral Byrd fails. He said he flew over the ice wall, wrote about it in his diary, ended up dead. German UFOs fly over the White House. They sit there for 3 days, and then the treaty is signed with 63 other countries saying that you cannot go to Antarctica without any approval. And that same United Nations and World Health Organization, all of that, their map, their symbol, shows the flat Earth theory. And that's because Lucifer has to slap you in the face with the truth. They have to tell you it's part of the game. They have to disclose their plan. We just are too brainwashed and distracted by money and things to see it. Basically, I think, they froze Glacier National Park. They put it under ice to protect it. And then terraformed the rest of the place and got rid of the giants. There's giants running around Earth. Big, huge, hungry beings ripping the heads off of humans, drinking their blood. And the computer simulation had to wipe the whole thing. They had to wipe the whole thing because it's like, you fucking can't have this. This is too nuts. The fallen angels that came down to Earth. It's a long story short, but they had to wipe them out. So when you think about a computer and you have to wipe the whole system, then think about water. It just kind of trips me off for a second. The big flood. That's how they wipe the system. Well, not everything gets wiped when you do that. Some little bit of stuff gets left behind. I think maybe the reptilians got left behind and they lived under the planet, and they have a much stronger pineal gland than ours, and they rule us from the poles, or from, people say it's Mars, but I think it's just outside the map. I think these are representations in the night sky of the frequency, and Mars is a dead area. There's a war there, nuclear bombs happen there, whatever, but I think that's just beyond the ice wall. And this glass firmament that's over our heads is just represented in the Truman Show as well. How we are literally trapped in a bubble being watched. And I do think that's true. I think they can watch through our eyes. That's what I think Saturn is. There's a hexagon on the top of Saturn. I think it's a broadcasting signal. And after all this flat earth theory and stuff, you're like, well, how could you say that there's Saturn? Again, I think Saturn is a representation of what is going on. It's a frequency. It's I don't know how to explain it because I'm still new to it, but anyway, I think it's a broadcasting signal. I think that's what our moon is too. Our moon is a broadcasting signal because we're being watched. It locks us into a 3D state. The pyramids on the backside of the moon trap your souls after death. The white light they shine in Men in Black is not just a joke. That's real. So when you die and they say this, you walk towards the light. I think you're not. You're supposed to look towards the dark. Go away from the light, because that's how you get trapped. They wipe your memory and repeat. Reincarnate as another human in another family and repeat. And they harvest your energy, just like in the movie The Matrix. They harvest your energy in another dimension. Those negative emotions of anger, anxiety, sadness, you're plugged in, and they're eating your energy in another dimension. That's why they have you in a state of anxiety. They poison you with your food and water. You have your cell phone walking around, controlling your mind with 5G and 6G invisible waves. They're keeping you in that state so they can harvest as much energy as possible. Like, we are a big farm on Earth of energy. That's what it is. And they're taking over this 3D dimension. That's what they want. They want to take over Earth and have this third dimension as theirs, the reptilians. So there's this interdimensional war going on over that white light technology and over this harvesting negative energy. And they're trying to help us out because we don't really realize what is going down, how they are eating our negative emotions in this other dimension. So they're trying to enlighten us. They're trying to help us out. Earth is a beautiful crystal planet. Like, some of this terrible stuff that they put into your subconscious that you don't even realize, about the little kid stuff and our government and pedophiles, I think it's all there. One person told me, he's like, maybe it's not even real. Maybe they're just putting it there to create this negative thing in your mind so that you are more negative and more evil. And I was like, wow, that blows my mind. I do think it's going on, actually, though, because that's how they blackmail people. It's disturbing, evil shit. And that's exactly, that's what they want. They want to create this new reality in your mind of how awful things can be so that your bar of relativity now is lower. Like, you're just getting used to this. Subconsciously, that's what they do in movies, and that's how they get you into this fear-based state, because then they can control you if you're in that fear-based state. That's the same reason why I'm making these videos, is a breakthrough of fear and caring about what other people think. And information overload, like, this is too much to hold back and hold in. You gotta put it out there so that other people can have their own journey and have their own enlightenment. The reason why I gave so much background about my life was so that people know that the pain, loneliness, and then physical pain, so mental pain from not being connected to any members of my family, physical pain from breaking my leg and having my back injury, and loneliness is how I've gotten to this state. It really is. And it's like, oh, I feel so bad. It's like, I'm grateful for it. I really am. It's been tough, and I don't have friends, but it's given me so much clarity, and it's made my life. It sounds crazy, but it was tough in my 20s, but this is easier now, my 30s. I'm been coasting. 30, 31, about to be 32. Everything's been great since then. I just slip up, make mistakes still, because I'm human. I get mad. And people sometimes just never talk to you again, because I don't think they've ever gotten that mad. They don't ever let their emotions loose because they've been drinking fluoride water their whole life, and they're just dulled down by poison food and water. I haven't been drinking tap water since I left high school or got out of college. Boulder, Colorado, I was like aware of tap water. So I've been 15 years clean of tap water, clean of all this fear-based. I don't watch Netflix. I live in my car for half the year in the forest, play my flute and meditate. I'm totally unplugged from the reality that you guys are plugged into. And I think that's given me the clarity to see this stuff. I think we're an interdependent species. We do need each other, but I think other people hold you back, really do, from your own enlightenment, your own intuition. We all want to give our opinions and say these words. I honestly think we can't find the right words. We don't even know. We say how we feel in the moment, but I think we're wrong. Like, deep down, you probably know a different reason, but you can't find the words to say it accurately, ever. So it's like, you say this, say that, but I don't think you're accurate, and I don't think you even know. This is 25 minute video here, so probably going to end this, but this should be, enough information should be enough information. I don't know how else to say it. I have a ton of these pictures of the faces in the rocks that I'm holding on to still. The Sphinx in Egypt, the turtle of Clearly of National Park here in Glacier, the pyramid-like peaks, the water below it. I've never seen a forest like the forest in Glacier. It's so like just kindred and immaculate, impeccable. Dr. Seuss trees. It's amazing. And you get out of this area and you look at Banff, Canada, look at these big glaciers, big other areas where there's national parks. And that's exactly what I think these areas are. I think they're a place where the earth vibrates hard. It just is a special location along the spine. Yellowstone National Park. Look at all the geysers, the big flowing waters, and beautiful mountains. You got the Teton Range poking up in Wyoming. I really do think if we're building ski resorts on them and places to go vacation, but I think these places are sacred spots along the spine that it vibrates harder and it allows you to rip through space and time. And this is ours in North America. Glacier is ours. That's why the United States borderline is where it is. It's a very specific spot. And this is our little, rip through space and time. I think the Grand Canyon is another one. But this is the mountain range that we have that is the ultimate computer. And I think that's why the Germans came here. It's because they were able to see that. They were able to see where Mercury was. They were able to see something that we can't. The powers have this technology since after World War II that we still don't have. It's something like that. I think when we meditate, we're able to give off a light that we can't see in the 3D, but they can see it. Some sort of golden light or something that we give off when we find that state of meditation. They've done studies in Washington, D.C., in Chicago, where they got these groups together and everybody meditated during the time of the full moon or something. And the crime rate went down that next day. So there's something we're doing that we can't see that affects everybody else. And, police departments will staff for the full moon. They'll put more employees on staff because they know the crime rate goes up. Because I think there's negative green trap, energetic booby traps that happen during these moments that we're just unaware of, that we get trapped by, and we make mistakes. And that's why the crime rate goes up. But I think when you meditate, for example, if you were to meditate in a neighborhood, just your neighborhood, for a year, every day, one morning, 10 minutes every day for a year, I bet someone else in that neighborhood starts meditating. I'm not even kidding you. There's invisible waves that we give off that we don't even realize, that we don't know how to do, we don't have control over, because we've lived in a modern life surrounded by technology for so long. They say these UFOs are flown by your mind. Consciousness flies the UFOs. So the United States government has UFOs, but they can't fly them because they don't have pilots. A real pilot would be someone like a third world country who has never been exposed to modern technology, because their consciousness and their reactions would be so pure. And that's how you fly the UFO technology. That's how you go through other dimensions. You can't have this scrambled signal that we have from our cell phones, that we have from living under a city with all this traffic and horns and people and distorted frequencies. After World War II, the Germans changed the frequency of music from 432 to 440. Why would they do that? Because it twists you. It's a frequency war. Invisible waves that you cannot see. So streams, lakes, mountains, tree canopies, they all give off that frequency that you want. Yeah, I think even seeing the sun, but that's why they spray it. They spray the sky so that you don't see the sun, because the sun's supposed to wake us up. It's supposed to shift consciousness, but they spray it. They spray the skies, blast this frequency through those metals and create this pattern and this haze that blocks out the sun. I don't know how people don't see that. They think I'm crazy, or they think like, damn, the government's watching you. You should run for the hills. I'm like, no, I don't give a fuck at all. They think I'm nuts for talking about this stuff. It's crazy. It's a whole different plane. I'm on a whole different realm, reality, and I have these feelings tell me that this is all true. But I'm like, I think I'm ahead of my time. I think I am. But maybe that's why I came to Earth. That's why I'm here. It's to just transmute this information now. I'm not going to go out jumping off a cliff. I've already been through those thoughts, and I've come out the other side. And that's how, people have been through Great Depression in 2013 in Boulder, Colorado. I was close to taking my own life. And I think after having that experience, you're like, fuck it. You want to go out trying to do something, right? If you're going to fucking die. I almost took it in my own apartment. All right, so fuck it. Let's go into the woods in the dark alone. Let's do it. Let's send it. Because if a bear gets you, it's better than you. So I think if you're depressed and you're in a rut, get into a van, shuffle your mind up, get away from negative ties, start sending it up mountains. You'll find a reason to live. I guarantee you get to the edge and you look down and you're thinking, no, you won't. You'll choose life every time. And I think that it's a state in the mind when you get to this state, when you get to be so alone and so in pain, you go to a certain part of yourself because you've lost all this care. And I think that's it. That's how you get there. It sucks that you got to do that in this life. Maybe there's other ways to do that, but we're born into this horrible Rockefeller system that needs to crash and burn, and everything needs to reset. I'm so excited for it. But until then, I think you need to just crawl through this fucking system and fight your way through it and escape. But you have to know what to escape from. And everybody decides not to go to work on Monday. We fucking break the system. We do. Everybody decides to stop drinking tap water. We break the system. So we have more power than we think, but everybody's afraid. Like if one person just does it, then they'll lose their job and everybody else gets ahead. So it's like this, you need to have a unified group. But that's exactly, you look at all these music artists that sing about love and coming together, like John Lennon and Bob Marley. All you need is love. Come together. They're dead for whatever reason. You could say this, you could say that. They're not here anymore. They recorded their music at 4:32, not 4:40 as well. They were aware. Roger Waters of the Pink Floyd band in Britain, he recorded his music at 4:32, brought awareness to the dark side of the moon. It seems like he might have been in the know. So, all right, that's it.